So now, in order to solidify my point, let's have a look at some of the examples of consumptions, and let's think about the ethical meaning embedded in these consumption activities. More importantly, I would like to invite you to think about the necessity of the relevant rites involved. Anyone who has participated in an ancestral remembrance ceremony would know the complexity of the procedure, and it looks really expensive as well. It takes several days to decorate the place, and very costly to prepare for the tribute. I will put the link of the ceremony in the website, on the website, so that you can have a look. Now, the most significant aspect of the ceremony is the use of propriety, i.e. rites and music. Now, an important question to ask here is, why all the rules? Why? Why so complicated? The classic of filial piety says, to change social practices and customs, there is no better way than using music. To stabilize the government and to peacefully govern the people, there is no better way than educating the people about propriety. So this shows the importance of rites and music in promoting harmony in society and good social practices and customs. Rites represents the natural order between heaven and earth, and it regulates human behavior. It tells us how human should interact with other human, with nature, and with everything in the world. The music, on the other hand, in traditional Chinese culture refers to the sounds of virtues and the tunes of elegance, not the sound of decadence. Music represents the natural harmony between heaven and earth. So elegant music can harmonize the 7 emotions and 5 desires of human. And the 5 desires are desires for wealth, lust, fame, food, and sleep, according to Buddhist Sutra. So from there, a human develops 7 emotions. That is bliss, anger, sadness, happiness, love, hatred, and craving. Therefore, the function of music is to control the 5 desires and 7 emotions so that they are not released excessively and uncontrolled. So by using music, we learn to standardize and confine our speech and behavior and perfect ourselves and eventually reach the ideal state of morality. Well, the ancestral remembrance ceremony fully demonstrates just how propriety and rite and music are used to educate the people. The rites of the ceremony comprise several parts, well, in fact, 3 parts. Part 1 is preparation and reception for the ancestral spirits, and 2 is presenting principal presentations, and 3 is to see off for the ancestral spirits and conclusion of the ceremony. So from the commencement of the ceremony to its completion, there are 29 steps. From the beginning to the end, the ceremony is held with, we can say, utmost respect and solemnness. For example, opening the entrance, ceremonial attendants walking out of the entrance with lanterns, the fan and the umbrella, and receiving ancestors of all ethnic groups in the world to the venue of the ceremony. And once the ancestors enter the venue, the principal and assistant officers of the ceremony will respectfully present incense and invite the ancestors to enjoy the variety of offerings. Also, the principal will present wine to the ancestors 3 times as a gesture of sincerity and respect. Also, a remembrance text will be read aloud in order to express our remembrance to our ancestors and our determination to inherit their teaching of virtues and to promote harmony and peace. Now, when the presentation is completed, we will respectfully see our ancestral spirits off with the most solemn ceremonial attendance. And finally, we will burn the remembrance text and dedicate it to our ancestors. Now, also, the instruments used in the ceremony also very special. The function of playing the drum and striking the bell is to draw attendants' attention and remind us that we must be most sincere and respectful during the ceremony. Educating people by using rites and music will result not only in good moral character of individual, but also in good social practices. So this type of education stresses that people need to understand about being content, fulfilling duties, and thus result in gaining respective position in life. And subsequently, this will develop cultural consciousness. That is the purpose of the particular consumption of ancestral remembrance ceremony. Well, one may argue that, well, this is not really consumption, is it? This is ceremony. But ceremony can take, any form of existence. For example, the use of different tableware on different occasions is a ceremony. In many cultures, the quality of tableware is directly related to the formality of the occasion. It shows respect to the guests. And when using, high-quality tableware, the dinner, automatically raises the sense of honor. Also, why do you wear a suit in a job interview? Because it shows your care about the job, and somehow it makes people, act more professionally. Why do you buy flowers on Mother's Day? Because it serves to remind ourselves about the person that gave us birth. What is the purpose of a wedding ceremony? In many cultures, it shows respect to the couples, to the in-laws, and to remind the couples that they are responsible for each other for life. So none of the above consumptions serves the immediate purpose of survival, but on a deeper level, they do maintain social harmony and stability. And you can see that the system of rites embedded in these consumptions played a huge role in bonding people together and creating harmony. Economically speaking, consumption is treated as a component of GDP. So the higher the consumption, the higher the GDP level. I think we all know that. However, not all consumptions are ethically desirable. That's the difference. For example, do you think it's appropriate to buy overly luxurious presents for young children? Now, although this is a matter of personal choice, of course, right, based on personal financial ability, we still need to think about that. The system of rights is a rich content in the education of young children. In particular, the way of one's life is an important topic. There is a Chinese proverb that says, "It is easy to change from austerity to extravagance, but difficult to change from extravagance to austerity." In ancient China, children's education gave great priority to the spirit of austerity and simplicity. This can be found in many of the family instructions of some of the very eminent and influential families. These families taught children to live a thrifty lifestyle, not because they couldn't afford it, but because they know that extravagance is like poison to children, and will lead the children to a false impression about hard work. a child who is used to extravagant life is usually weak in the mind and is easily crushed by obstacles. So a consumption like this is denied in the system of rights. Although it is great on a country's income statement, but it will eventually open the door of endless suffering to future generations. Proper rights can bring harmony into all 5 human relations. In the family, in the workplace, in the society, etc. But in order to achieve this, when it comes to consumption, it means that all consumptions must be in harmony with ethics. So if we use the economics language, we can say that consumption should have non-negative externality to society. Either it has no obvious impact to the development of human nature, or it improves it. That should be the benchmark of consumption. So this way, we can see that rights and consumptions go hand in hand. They don't contradict each other. And as a matter of fact, the social and spiritual duties are discharged by the physical and material means. Just like, the relationship between consumption of wedding ceremony and husband-wife relation. Consumption serves to improve human relation, not to destroy it. You might think, well, is it really necessary to raise the formality to such a high level? You may also say, well, buying flowers for the parents or spouse doesn't necessarily represent my true heart, and it's just a matter of formality. Well, I think this is the common perception about human relation. It's true that the substance is much more important than the form. That's right, especially when we only focus on the form without sincerity. Now, let's think about this. For the sages and virtuous people, how do they express their sincerity and substance? Well, they do that through the form. In fact, they are the same on both the inside and the outside. Recall that at the beginning of this course, we learned about the concept of the 3 stages, right? When people are sincere and consistent on both the form and the substance, this is the stage of extreme peace, or the great similarity. When only substance is valued and the form is ignored, we enter into the advancing peace stage, or the small tranquility. When both substance and the form are ignored, we enter into the disorderly stage. So we can roughly say that the form is a reminder, but it also has real moral and ethical impact. In Buddhism, it is called precepts. In Confucianism, it is called rights. So unless a person has already achieved 100% sincerity in his mind, the form is just as important as the substance. Now, earlier we said that Confucius takes human feeling as the field of cultivation. So, Confucius' system of rights take human wants as the foundation of his philosophy. And it combines the economic element with the ethical element into one principle. Economics can never be separated from ethics altogether. And this is exactly what is lacking in modern economic policy making and economic study. So I hope that we have answered the question that we posed earlier. Why didn't Confucius extinguish desire? Or why are we allowed for the satisfaction of desire? Now, in the next video, let's examine the second question. Why do we also want to put a string on desire and have it under control? This is the second function of the system of rights, which is moral regulation of wants.